Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Joe, the walking path at Brook Run has been really popular. It's really well utilized by bikes and pedestrians. So what's your plan to build connectivity from that Brook Run path to other areas like Prenashel Park and hopefully Georgetown and throughout Dunwoody? How do you plan to build connectivity?
Yeah, exactly. So we got to go back. We've had two community surveys done through the city over the last several years. They're scientifically measured. We have a high response rate. They're done by folks at universities. And what's the number one amenity that everyone's asked for on improving our parks is trails and connectivity. It's the number one thing we've asked for. And years ago we created it's a 2-mile circular loop in Brook Run. And I respect the neighbors next door that had concerns and still do have concerns about flooding. I met with Bev Armento a couple weeks ago and had coffee. Their neighbors actually had litigation with the city about the trail in Brook Run Park. And I totally understand that. They're living in a floodplain, and we definitely have to work with those people. There are some issues still today that the city can do better work on to mitigate with the streams and et cetera. And I want to make a public comment now, and I want to send an apology to Bev Armento and her friends over there about not deeply understanding the situation. I found as being a candidate, I'm really outreaching and listening to people now. They spent money out of their own dime, actually, and quite a lot to get hydrological studies done and so on. So again, I apologize to the community there on that one issue. We could have done a better job as a city outreaching. But back to the trails and so on. If we could continue to connect, there's a new park on Prenashel, right? And we have a trail going there. But did you know about 5 years ago that vote only passed by one vote to connect between those two? It was a $30,000 additional line item on our city budget, and it passed by 4 votes to 3 opposition. There were 3 no votes on that. And that was a $30,000 expenditure. If that hadn't passed, we would not have that trail from Brook Run to get over to Prenashel Park to get over to North Shackelford. And that was built out a few years ago. That's great. And it kind of goes up to Chamblee Dunwoody. And then we just built a new bridge linking the Georgetown to Perimeter District across a creek at the end of Old Spring House Lane. If you know where Waffle House is on Chamblee Dunwoody, you can go back down there on a residential street and you can take this bridge. Now that was just built, and that was a great public-private partnership. The Perimeter CID, Community Improvement Districts, they contributed $100 grand, and the city contributed some money, but also the townhome developer helped put in the trail. So it's a great partnership by taking existing development and saying, let's build the trail and make that happen. Now, you don't have a sign though to get to the trailhead. You don't know where the bridge is. We don't have wayfinding signs. When people are coming to Dunwoody, it's a cut through. We don't even know where the nature center is. We can put some signage up at least, okay? You got people over at Perimeter Mall don't even know that there's a bridge there to get to the pedestrian district and get over to the Georgetown residential. And every year, you look at funding. The residents want this, but every year we take budget surpluses and add more paving. We take almost $1 million a year and add it to more paving. Now, we're not gonna stop paving, but we pave over $2 million a year in paving in our budget. And now we're adding that extra funds. And instead of taking that extra funds toward paving, here's my number one priority when it comes to transportation: safety. Did you know if you get hit by a car as a pedestrian at 40 miles an hour, you have a 90% chance of dying? 90% chance of dying hit by a car by 40 miles an hour. These are 35 mile an hour zones. People are driving 45. And if you're going slower, if you're driving 25 miles an hour, you have a 90% chance of surviving. So instead of adding money just into paving, we could do traffic calming, safety measures, re-engineering our intersections so people come to a stop and pedestrians can walk across sidewalks. All right? Think about that. We can do between engineering and enforcement, ensure that that drivers stop for pedestrians in crosswalks. It happens in other cities in the nation. It happens in other states. We can change that here today, not in 20 years. Number one. And how do you connect the trail network? We kind of been stagnant with that. We've got plans on the books, but we have been stagnant since we built that Prenashel Park trail network. And then we got that one bridge, but we're not connecting that out. We can do that within, not in 20 years, but within 4 or 5 years. Building that trail network, connecting along Tilly Mill. Imagine going up to the waterworks, connecting Windward Hollow from Brook Run, all nodes, going along Mount Vernon, up to the Dunwoody Village, up to the Nature Center, down back toward Georgetown. We could build that out. not in 5, not in 20 years, but in 5 years. And again, we can fund it via our hotel motel tax increase that Brookhaven got. They got another 15 million to fund those things. We could take those excess funds that we're putting into paving and put it towards safety measures and build out those trail networks. Again, we've got many tools in the toolboxes, and that would be so transformational of doing that. And in closing, you know, I want to live in a community where every child should be able to walk or ride their bike safely to school. Full stop. And we can make that happen, not just talk about it. So that's what I'm looking at. I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely.